Hello and welcome to this Swift tutorial, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at face detection. So in this video we're going to take a look at how we can make an application that we feed certain images, and then the application scans and analyzes those pictures, looks for faces, and then also spits out some details about those faces, some characteristics, if the person is smiling or not, if both eyes are showing or not, and that's the kind of information that we will be getting. Now, in order to make it even more interesting, let's imagine that you just got hired by the FBI or the CIA to take a look at certain pictures and find out who the suspicious person is, or who might have done a certain thing. And instead of taking a look at all those pictures yourself or discerning yourself, you want to make an application that does it for you. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. So let's go ahead, open up Xcode project and get started. Okay, so the first thing that we do is we open up our Xcode application. This is Xcode version 9. And then we just click on create a new project. Let's make this a single view application, and I'm going to call this face recognition. Then I'm going to click on next. Just make sure that the language is set to Swift as always. Next, and then just save it on your desktop or wherever you want to save it. So here we have our project. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in the 3 images that we want to analyze. Now you could also, I'm going to show you why I do it this way in a couple of minutes. But for now, I'm just going to drag them in so that we already have them, and just like that. So here we have image 1, 2, and 3, all very nice images. But now we can start laying out our storyboard and laying out our app and how everything is going to look and all that kind of stuff. So what I want to do is I first of all want to drag in an image view. Let's make this in the iPhone X to make it that one notch fancier. So here I got my iPhone X, and let's drag in an image view. I'm going to place it here on the top. So this is where we are going to display our image that we want to analyze. So just stretch it out just like that. And I'm going to choose aspect fit, and then I'm going to add an image to this image view. So just click here, image, and then image 1. So either you can download this project from a website. I will leave a link in the description where these images are contained. Let's see. Or you can choose 3 images of your own. So here I just use my image 1, very nice image. And then I'm also going to drag in a text view. Now this text view is going to provide us with information about the picture. So first we're going to analyze the picture that's displaying right here, and then we're going to display the information about that picture in this text view right here. So now we have 2 elements, and we actually need 3. So let's find the last one, which is going to be a button. And I'm just going to place it right here and stretch it all the way across the screen, make it a bit like that. And then I'm going to give it a blue background because that looks so fancy. And then I'm going to give it a white text color, and I'm going to give it the title import image. Okay, so we're going to give our user the ability to import an image. Then he can choose that image from his camera roll. That image is going to be displayed here. It's going to be analyzed. The information we get from the picture after analyzing it is going to be displayed right here. So I'm just going to give it a placeholder information. I'm going to increase the font size a bit so that it's easier to read. 20 will do. Okay, awesome. So here we have our layout, and now we are going to bring up our split view so that we can import all of our elements into our view controller so that we can start accessing them. So first of all, our image view, and we're just going to call it my image view. I'm going to connect it. Then I have a text view, my text view, connected, and then we have a button here. Just going to drag it in, name it import, and make sure that you make this an action, because we want a certain action to be triggered when our user presses that button. So I'm just going to name that button import and make it an action and connect it up. That's basically all we have to do with the storyboard for now. So let's head back over to our view controller and let's do some damage here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import core image, which is something we're going to need if we want to start messing around with images and analyzing them. And then I'm going to add 2 delegates, which is UI navigation controller delegate. And I'm also going to add a UI image picker controller delegate. Now these 2 delegates we only need because we want to enable our user to go into their photo library and import a certain picture. Else we would not need those, but because we want to offer that feature, we are going to add those 2 delegates. Now we want to start filling out this function, so that's what we're going to do. We want to specify what we want to have happen when our user presses that one and only button that is on the screen. So what we want to do is we want to create an image picker, basically giving the user the option of picking an image from the photo library. Another way to say this is we simply want to display the photo library of the user. Now how do we do that? Well, we start by defining a constant image picker and setting that equal to UI image picker controller. Let's see, UI image picker controller. Then we're going to set the image picker dot delegate to be equal to self. This works because we added the delegate up here. And then we're going to say image picker dot source type, and this is basically which source we want the picture from. Do we want it from the camera or do we want it from the photo library? In this case, we're just going to specify the photo library. So UI image picker controller source type, and as you can see here, I can choose camera or photo library, whatever you want to do, that's fine. I'm just going to go with photo library for now, so that we enable our user to pick a photo from their photo library. Now that we have created it, we want to display the image picker. And the way we do that is we simply say self dot present. And what do we want to present? We want to present our image picker. Why not animated? And as a completion, we simply write nil because we don't need to have anything happen after we are displaying the library to the user. And now, before I forget it, we are going to head over to the info plist and ask the user for permission to access their library. And the way we do that is you simply click plus on either one of these, and then you will get another row. And there you simply type in privacy photo library. Let's see, photo library usage description. And then you can fill in the message that you want to display to the user. Hi, can I get access to the library? That will do. So now we're basically asking the user for permission, which isn't a bad idea. After we have displayed the library. Okay, so now we added the function so that when the user clicks the button, we are displaying the library. But now we also want to do something when the user has picked a photo. The way we do that, pick photo, is we use a function that's called image picker controller. And we want this one, did finish picking media with info, which means the user just picked a photo. And then we're going to try to see if we can successfully retrieve that image. The way we do that is to say if let image is equal to info, and we want to access the UI image picker original image and try to cast it as a UI image. So we're basically accessing what the user, so the user is being presented with a library here. Then the user picks an image, and when he does that, did finish picking media with info, did finish picking a photo. Then we try to see if we're able to convert what he picked to a normal image. And if we are, then we're going to set the image of our image view, which we call my image view, and the image of that image view to be equal to image. Simple as that. And then we need to self.dismiss, and what we want to dismiss is basically the image picker controller that is currently open. So the photo library, we want to close that down now that we have the image. So let's try to launch our application and see that we're successful in picking and choosing an image and then displaying it in our application. So here we have our application with a nice picture and some information. And now let's try to import an image. We should now soon see the image library. Let's see. Here we go. And then I'm going to go into my camera roll and I'm going to simply pick a photo. Let's see, I want this one. And there we go. Everything is working. At least this function is working, and that's not a bad start. So what we want to do now is we want to get to the real business. So now, up until now, we have just done it so that we can import an image and analyze different images by choosing them from the image library. What we want to do now is the real thing, which is to analyze the image that is displaying in the image view. So let's do that. And I'm going to create another function, which is called analyze. Let's see, no, detect. There we go. And I just need to add a func here. There we go. So now we want to create our detect function that is going to analyze the image for us. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to get image from image view. So we want to access the image that is currently displaying it in our app so that our application knows which photo to analyze. And the way we do that is we say image, I'm just going to call it my image. My image is equal to CI image, this one. And I'm going to access the image, let's see, image that is currently displaying in image view. I call my image view dot image. And we probably need to force unwrap that and force unwrap this one also. I think that should be it. So what we're doing is we are, yeah, that's not a problem, this error. What we're basically doing here is we're accessing the image that is in our image view and storing that image in our my image constant. The next thing we want to do is we want to set up the detector. So this is basically going to be our detector that is going to analyze our picture. And the first thing we want to do, accuracy, is we're going to define our accuracy, the accuracy that we want. And we do that by saying CI detector accuracy is going to be CI detector accuracy high in order to get the best results. Then we're going to define what we want to detect, and we do that by saying by creating a constant that I'm just going to call face detector. And here we are going to specify that we want faces, that is what we want our detector to look for. So the way we do that is by typing in CI detector, and then we can, let's see what options we have here, and we want this one here of type. What we want to detect is CI detector type face, so that's what we want to detect, faces. For context, we can just write nil because we don't need that right now. And for options, we can add our accuracy so that we tell our detector that we want this high accuracy right here. Then we're going to tell our detector where or what to analyze. And here we're going to say to the detector that we want it to analyze this image up here. The way we do that is we are going to create another constant that I'm going to creatively name faces. And I'm going to type in face detector dot features, and we want to detect features in my image, and not my image view, but my image. And here we can add certain options, and I'm actually going to do that because I want our detector to recognize a smile. And if you wanted to do that, you are going to have to add it as an option here. So what I'm going to type in is CI detector smile, and I'm going to set that to true. So this is basically another one of these options that I'm defining here, that I'm basically saying, yes, detector, also look for a smile. And now the fun part starts, because right now our detector is active, it's looking for things in the image. And what we have to do now is we have to check the results that we are retrieving from the detector. And the way we can do that is we can say if faces dot is empty. So if there's nothing in this constant right here, which is basically the results from the detector, so we're checking if there are no results, and then we're probably going to need an exclamation mark there to say if faces is not empty, which means we have something here. Let's see, we need to unwrap something here, and we are probably going to need to add an exclamation mark there. So we're checking if faces is not empty, then that's great, we can continue. And what we do here is we're going to loop through our faces array. Now, right now I'm just going to use images with one person per image, but if you want to analyze multiple faces in the image, then this is also the way to do it. You simply loop through all of the results. So for face in faces, as, and then we cast it to a CI face feature, and then here we can then process the results. So the detector looks for faces and it stores all of the faces in an array. Then we check if it is not empty. If it is not empty, that's great, we continue, and then we loop through all of the results. Basically we loop through all of the faces. And then here we can process the information that we get from the faces. So here you can access a lot of information about the different faces. But for now, I'm going to choose a couple of characteristics of the face that we can display in our information box below the picture. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define a constant named mouth showing. This is basically going to see if the mouth is showing in the picture. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this a string. And that's because I want to display it in my text box. So I'm going to write it out and then I'm going to explain what I'm doing and the logic behind it. So here I'm adding a space, a line break. I'm going to write mouth is showing, and then I'm going to add some information here, which is going to be face dot has mouth position, which basically returns true or false of whether or not a mouth is showing. Now the reason I'm doing this is because then I can simply say my text view dot text is equal to mouth showing. So now I am displaying my results in my text view, and in order to trigger this detection function, I'm going to have to call it somewhere, and I'm going to do that here after I have picked a photo. So here I'm going to call the detect function, and I'm also going to do it when the view loads. So I'm going to write in detect right here, and then I'm going to launch it, and we are going to see if the mouth is showing in this picture or not. So here we can see the results, and we have an image and it is returning mouth is showing, and that is true, which is great because that's exactly what we wanted to do. So now you can probably also see the reasoning behind making this a string. This one here is simply so that I can add it into my text view when I want to display it. I simply say my text view.text is equal to this string right here. So let's try to do this with some other function as well. Let's try to create a constant named is smiling, and we can set that equal to make sure to add a line break. Person is smiling, and we can now set that to equal to face dot has smile. Then I'm going to add another one, which is going to be a bit trickier, because now I'm going to check if both eyes are showing in the picture. Now this is going to require some if statements, but let's try to work this out. Var variable var both eyes showing, and we also going to set this to a string, and I am going to type in both eyes showing, and I'm initially going to set this to true. So we are going to assume that both eyes are showing. Then we're going to run an if statement here to check if that is indeed the case. Face dot has right eye position, which basically checks if there is a right eye in the picture. If it has, and I'm writing this exclamation mark in order to say if it has not a right eye, if the image does not contain a right eye, or if face dot has left eye position. So if the face does not contain a right eye or does not contain a left eye, then we can set this variable up here, both eyes showing, to be equal to false, because one of the eyes are not showing. So that's basically what we're doing here, and I'm going to add one more key specification, and that is going to be the degree of suspiciousness, because as I stated in the intro, we're making this app to analyze who might be the suspect, and in order to do that, we are going to have to define a certain we're going to run certain if statements to check how suspicious the person in the image looks or appears to be. So I'm going to create a suspect number, suspect degree, the degree of suspiciousness, and I'm just going to set that to 0 for now, because we assume that the person is completely harmless. But then we're going to run some if statements to check if we should raise that suspect degree. So we can, for example, check if face dot has mouth position, and we can say if he does not have that, then we're going to say suspect degree plus equals 1. Then we say +1. If the face isn't showing, he's maybe wearing some kind of mouth cover or something like that. So let's raise the suspicion number. Then we're going to check if face does not have a smile. And if that is the case, then I'm also going to raise suspect degree by 1. Then I'm going to check if both eyes are showing. So if they are not showing, then I'm going to also raise the suspicious degree. So we can check if both eyes showing, which is basically this variable up here, dot contains, and if it contains false, then we know that both eyes are not showing, and he's probably hiding them somewhere or doing something so that we can't see them. That's also going to raise the suspect degree. And then I'm going to add one last one. I'm going to say if face dot face angle is greater than 10, or if face dot face angle is less than -10, and if that is the case, again raising the suspicion degree. This basically means how much the face is tilted to either the left side or the right side. And now that we have all of this calculated, we can add it we can add also store our suspicion in a constant. So again, let suspect text is equal to, again, line break, suspiciousness, probably wrong written, and then we're going to add here. What we're actually going to do is, instead of just adding a number, I'm actually going to create a array, and I'm just going to fill it with low, medium. It's going to become clear why I do that in a second. High, and I'm going to also write very high. Basically, instead of giving it a suspect degree number, I'm instead going to return a text, so array at suspect degree. So here we have our suspicious text, and all that's left, and this is the last step, is to display all of these constant and variables in our text view. So let's do that by setting, first of all, not mouth showing, but let's see. Then first of all, I'm going to add suspect text. Then I'm going to add another line break, actually, because that's going to be sort of my title. Then I'm going to add mouth showing, which is the one up here. Now I'm going to add these three. Mouth showing, I'm going to add, is smiling. And lastly, I am going to add both eyes showing. And this is going to be it. So let's try to launch our application and see. Let's see, there is some, just need to add this one. There we go. No, there will not go. There we go. Awesome. And I'm just going to quickly say, if we don't have any faces here, as an else, I'm going to set my text view dot text to be equal to no faces found, just like that. Let's launch our application and see how suspicious the face looks. Okay, so here we have the information. Mouth is showing is true, person is smiling is false, and both eyes showing, that is true, and suspiciousness is medium. Now that works fine. Let's try to import an image. And because I don't have a wide variety of images, I don't have an image displaying a face. But now we can check if it crashes, if there's no face, and it should not. It should just, as it does, display no faces found. So in order to analyze the last two images, I'm just going to add them right here. Let's try image 2. So this one got suspiciousness medium. Let's try to launch this happy face and see if the suspiciousness is lower or if it's higher. It should be lower. It looks less suspicious in my opinion. Let's see if our application also thinks so. Suspiciousness low. Mouth is showing true, person is smiling true, both eyes showing true. Awesome. That's a great thing here. Let's try number 3. He looks really suspicious. Let's see if our application thinks so too. And here we go. Suspiciousness high, mouth is showing that's true, person is smiling is false, both eyes showing is true. And because the face is tilted to such a degree, that means we got suspicious degree plus 1 down here, which makes him suspiciousness high. Again, you can define these criteria however you want in order to fine-tune it for whatever you want to do. But this is my take on, or our take on, creating an application that checks how suspicious a person looks. Okay, this is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure that if you enjoyed it, that you click the subscribe button so that you stay tuned for future videos. Other than that, thank you for watching.